Today on Locked On Rockies, there was a lot of good that came from this game from the Rockies, but we can't keep just focusing on those things when the Rockies are making mistakes that are costing them ball games.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the second day of July in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, you're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk. And we're on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies by firing off your comments in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comments section. Be part of the show. Check in as an everydayer, like I know so many of you out there are. Thank you so much for your support throughout the season. I'm Paul Holden, your Rockies fan extraordinaire, and we'll be breaking down the series opener against the Houston Astros tonight, which ended up being a hard-fought and interesting game here. Rockies out hitting the Astros, but still fall by one, despite huge games from Hunter Goodman and Jordan Beck. Chase Dollander, unfortunately, has not been able to figure out Coors Field as much as we would hope in his opening season here, but learning moments, learning opportunities as always. Before we dive into everything today, got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Chase Dollander there, just unfortunately unable to get the job done. Setting the tone, unfortunately, in the wrong direction for the Rockies, getting shelled again by Houston, not able to get the ball where he wanted it to, unable to execute the pitches that he needed to. Too many walks, too many free bases, and too many opportunities for the Astros there. And, of course, the damage being done with the long ball. 2 walks in this one, 6 earned run, and only 1 strikeout for Chase Dollander. When a team like Houston, and even though I was talking about, hey, this is a good team, they have had struggles on offense. But when you're not getting the swings and misses, when you're not missing the bats, they can and they will do damage to you, exactly what they did there. And they'll make you pay when you give them 2 extra free bags as well. I'm not sure if this is fully updated yet on ESPN here, the home stats for Dolander there. But 6 starts at home this year, 26 innings pitched. He's allowed 28 runs, 25 of them earned, 8 home runs, and 12 walks. So if this isn't updated and adding only 1 more strikeout there, I believe, this hasn't updated. So this is going to, drastically show that Coors Field has been difficult for Chase this year. And when you give those free passes, when you give those opportunities, teams like the Astros are going to make you pay for it. They're going to punish you for it. And that's the problem there. We still saw him touch 98. We still saw the fact that he can still throw the heck out of the ball and get that velocity. Just needs to be able to paint those off-speed pitches and be able to hit his spots and get the swing and miss that hopefully will be part of his game. The fact that they were just jumping on pitches, they were not, when you're not missing the bats, it's just tough there. And the experienced team like the Astros can take advantage there. But on the plus side, when we're talking from the pitching, though, the bullpen absolutely nails here. Chase Dollander gets chased 2 2/3, and it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members of the Rockies bullpen to come out and do to get the game closed and finished, and they don't allow any runs, only allowing 2 hits in that time, a couple of walks there as well, 4 total walks for Rockies pitching. But Jimmy Herget comes in and dominates for 2 1/3. Angel Shavihi, a couple of blemishes there, but gets a strikeout. Jake Bird, a strikeout, and Victor Vodnik navigated some trouble there in the finale, getting 2 big strikeouts as well. So the bullpen comes up, keeps this game close. The Rockies fought back throughout all of this game, scoring in 5 out of 9 innings here, all unable to get that crooked number and do the big damage that we were hoping for. But it is one of those things where you show some signs of life. But as much as there's the good stuff, and we'll talk a little bit about it. This game shows you're not going to be able to win when you commit the 2 errors. You're not going to be able to win when the game doesn't go your way with some of that bad breaks for Doyle there, especially on that Farmer, what should have been a double or at least some extra bases there, and second and third to set up something big there with 1 out in that inning. You got to be able to convert on that. Chase Dollander's got to be able to throw the ball over and not throw the ball away. You have to execute and do all the small things to beat these good teams. If you give these teams an inch, especially at Coors Field, they'll take it a mile. And that has been shown time and time again for the against the Rockies this year. That's been a big problem of the issues there. The broadcast mentioning it, the errors have been a problem, but the errors specifically from the catcher position and the pitcher position are really harmful. And when you compound that with you're not missing bats, you're allowing walks, that's a recipe for a disaster for the Rockies. And they were found themselves down 5 in that one. And again, good to see that this team was able to keep themselves in this ball game, fight back, and make it another close loss. But it's still a loss. It's still an issue when you're not doing those little things right. When you're continuing to see these issues. Another crooked number on the error side for the Rockies. The base running blunders there. I mean, these things matter. These things add up for the Rockies and have shown to be a problem for this team as they continue to go through some growing pains, and certainly, but again, the Doyle thing is a little bit of bad luck and a great sell job from center field there and the bullpen. I mean, that looked like it was an out there, and a little confusion from the umpires as well. I think the umpiring in this lately for the Rockies and against the Rockies has been suspect, and I think has been a little critical. But that's a crazy play with the whole bunch of factors that just kind of fell into me when I watched that as. Of course, that happened to the Rockies. Of course, the whoever the right field there was made a tremendous play for Houston there, robbing there. Was that in the 3rd inning when the Rockies were getting some stuff cooking there, and I think scored on a sac fly in that situation. But the little things and the breaks that the Rockies have needed, they just have not gotten. And when you dig yourself that big of a hole, it's hard to dig out of. But it is an encouraging sign to see that this team was fighting back, didn't give up, saw that they still had an opportunity, and made it a little uncomfortable to be at Coors Field. Again, the record isn't great at Coors. The record isn't great at all for the Rockies, but that's the type of situation and the type of stuff you need to do at Coors Field, and you need to continue to be able to replicate that success and be able to put the ball in play, start being able to put the pressure on there, use the long ball a little bit there from Hunter Goodman, because it was a pretty decent night from the Rockies offense overall. 12 hits in total for the team there, including 5 of them from Jordan Beck. I mean, let's center in and focus a little bit on that coming up here in the second segment. But I just kind of wanted to put that thing where it's just like, man, we are seeing this team making the right, making progress, but it continues to get in. They continue to get in their own way when that type of stuff, it matters, man. Those errors matter. The all those little tiny details, especially in baseball, they matter so much. And again, it's a game where you out-hit the opposition, but those 2 errors are the difference maker. The fact that you had 4 walks on there is the difference maker there. The Rockies, they were able to draw a couple of walks themselves and be a little bit more patient out there. We're able to chase and do a little damage there against the young rookie and be able to make it so they were looking like they were rocking and rolling. But unfortunately, the gap was just too big for the Rockies to overcome, as we are now officially into July, and the Rockies have not won 20 ball games yet. But let's not ignore the fact that it was a monster night for 2 young guys that continue to set the tone and set some hope for the Rockies coming up here in the after their results here of a great night at Coors for Jordan Beck and Hunter Goodman. Let's talk about that and more coming up on this episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. And how important is it that you got a nice spot that you can count on for all the parts and pieces you need for your work site. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, they're free. TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5. That's promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Back at it here for segment number 2. Today's episode of Locked On Rockies, rocking and rolling with you all here, reacting to that entertaining and fun game. I mean, with the way it was going, with the way things were looking, it was kind of a bummer to see that Chase get out of hand there. But the Rockies start things off right as Hunter Goodman returns from the IL, and the first pitch he sees, he blasts it for a home run. I mean, it is abundantly clear that this guy is a legit MLB bat and a guy that can make an impact for this Colorado Rockies team. And when you're looking for things to be excited about, this pair of Jordan Beck and Hunter Goodman has been awesome. I mean, 5-for-5 game is awesome for Jordan Beck as he continues to just kind of establish himself as a nice bat there that does kind of a few things. You'd like to still see some increases in some areas there in the power side of things. But when Jordan Beck can get on 5 times in a game, that gives you 5 opportunities for someone who can be aggressive on the base paths and get you some stolen bases that can set up some possible damage. It wasn't how the lineup was lined up in this one, but it gives you a situation in which Hunter Goodman can drive in some more runs, more RBI opportunities if Goodman bats behind Jordan Beck in these situations. These two guys are really starting to find and can actually, I really shouldn't say really starting to, are continuing to grow into the major leagues and continuing and think to focus on their process and their results as well. Can't deny what's going on with the team. Can't deny where you're at with where the club is at, but these are guys that are putting together solid stretches, an all-star candidate season for Hunter Goodman, and not a season to slouch at here. If you're Jordan Beck here, 274 average, a 331 OBP, an OPS of 805. He's hit 10 homers this year. He's got 75 hits, 28 RBI. He's 1 stolen base away from 10 home runs, 10 stolen base, and probably a realistic candidate for 15-15. I mean, maybe even 2020 if the Rockies can start swinging the bat as well as they have of late, continue to dip into that power that we have seen this team start to develop a little bit more. We're seeing this team hit a little bit more home runs. We're seeing this team be a little bit more of a threat on offense. It's often come with leads that are a little bit too far out of reach or maybe too little too late towards the end of ball games. But these two guys are putting together just phenomenal stretches where you're sitting there and saying, like, these guys are legit. These guys are someone that the Rockies can count on and the Rockies can use as they continue to go forward. Jordan Beck, 24, Hunter Goodman, 25. Young guys for the Rockies contributing at this level, as Hunter Goodman's batting .290 with a 337 OBP and an OPS of 869, 50 RBI, 16 home runs. These guys are damage dealers and a really nice 1-2 punch for the Colorado Rockies right now. I mean, this is a situation in which you really hope that Brenton Doyle would be able to contribute at the way that he did if you're able to get him paired with these guys, as Brenton Doyle's continuing to navigate just, a really, really tough part of the season. He got the strikeout there to end the game, still dealing with the offensive struggles, but gets that single there where he hustles it out and gets that. I mean, Brenton Doyle is still going out there and playing hard. It's just, unfortunately, the game is not treating him very well as well. And he's going through, I think, one of the, probably one of the biggest challenges of his life, both on and off the field here, as he continues to try to get into this veteran status and grow into the player that we hope that he can be a leader on this team to pair with these guys. Because if you could get Brenton Doyle in the mix to start getting on base more with these guys, that would be a really good addition for these two guys to have it, and a way to take the pressure a little bit off of Brenton Doyle, to start putting Brenton Doyle in situations where he can be a little bit more effective and not counted on so much to be a big damage dealer. But I think that these guys, you can't ignore the impact that these guys have been having on the club. Last 7 games for Jordan Beck, 367, 406, 467. No home runs, but he's driven in 2 in this time, 11 hits, has the 7 strikeouts. Strikeouts still a problem like they are, but getting on base, being effective, being a damage dealer. And we're now looking at a 2-week stretch for Beck where he's batting over 300 here. He is drawing a couple of walks. He's driven in 8 in that time with those 2 home runs. This is a really good sign here as we're seeing a significant improvement after he returned here and to continue to grow confidence. I think with these guys, like we said, I think they're certainly not ignoring the situation that they found themselves in, but I think they understand that this is the start of their career. This is their opportunity, that these reps matter. This is important to establish yourself as a big leaguer, to take advantage of all of these major league opportunities that they've been given because they've seen, teammates either go up or down. They've seen people get DFA'd. They've seen how teams move on and how the Rockies have moved on from some guys. You have to establish yourself as an important piece to the future success of the Colorado Rockies, and these guys are on the right path to doing it. These are the guys that want to be the ones to start setting the tone and setting the stage for success for this team. And this is a very encouraging sign for the development of these 2 guys. It's again, we need to see it from some other guys. We need to see, and we do worry about the continued development and the continued success, as we've seen kind of hot and cold with some of the Rockies players here. We mentioned Brenton Doyle here and the struggles he's facing with this season. We know Ryan McMahon's been an up and down case here basically throughout his entire career. So it'd be nice to see these guys continue to put it together. And then how does it build off of it? How does it continue through the second half of the season? I don't want to see just two strong months or 2 strong weeks. Want to see a full season of strong baseball, wins or loss, it doesn't matter. These are, even in the loss today, as much of a bummer and as a frustrating loss that it is for the Rockies, these are good signs for these 2 players here. This is another performance where we can look at and say, these guys are getting it done, and these guys can be factors at Coors Field. The thing that I really like about the Beck angle here is it's just a good Coors Field profile, a guy that can hit and get on base and be a base stealing threat. The added benefit of Hunter Goodman is the power's being unlocked. He is a power bat. He's been able to blast the ball all around Coors Field. He's been able to do damage that way with not only home runs, but extra base hits as well. These are guys that these are the signs and the things that you get excited about by a future Rockies offense, where these guys can be pieces of it. I hesitate to keep saying lead the way or something like that, and they might be doing that this season. But I still think that these guys need to be the complementary pieces towards your aircraft carrier pieces, as mentioned before. You need to have more, like we're talking crazy. Like, just think about how important it was for the Rockies in the playoffs to have the Nolan Arenado and the Trevor Story, just that big of an offensive threat. DJ LeMahieu, a prime example here too, where these guys were just consistent offensive threats that were anchors for your offense. They had the guys that, they had Charlie Blackmon there that kind of helped. And I think, the prime example would be look at it building around Nolan Arenado when you had a good Charlie Blackmon, when you had a good DJ LeMahieu, and when you had Trevor Story as well. Those guys all just building around that big core piece in the middle there of Nolan Arenado. And maybe these guys can grow. Maybe Hunter Goodman can grow into being this guy that can hit, 30 home runs, as the Rockies are waiting for a 30 home run guy, someone that can impact the game on offense to that level, as we've seen in the past. I just don't know if it's way too early to say that we can establish these guys as pieces. A lot of the things that I've talked about with some of my, the people that I know in the Rocky spheres it's like Tovar's a good hitter. These guys are good hitters, but they're not they're not number ones. Like if they weren't your best, if they weren't the guys that you had to count on the most, if they weren't the guys that you put the most accountability on, your 4-hole, your 3-hole type of guys, then the offense would be so much deeper and have so much more depth. I just want to see. I just don't know if we can sit here and say officially that we can count on Hunter Goodman being the aircraft carrier type of guy in the 3-4 hole yet. The signs are certainly pointing to that direction. The things are certainly pointing at the Rockies got a big bat here and a really interesting guy in Jordan Beck. It's just a matter of is this kind of the ceiling type of thing? Is this type of the level that we can expect, which is good, which is great, right? Which is a solid performance. Or is there another gear? Is there another level that these guys can get to where they are dominant offensive threats for the Rockies, both on the road and at home. And it's too early to tell with those guys, but these two continue to be very impressive for the Rockies. When you're looking at things, you can point at some pieces in the bullpen, certainly, but when you're looking at things that you sit there and say, these guys are showing out and showing off, those two guys are certainly are certainly the conversation starters there. And again, I want to highlight it's really tough, the Rockies going through with what they've been dealing with Bretton Doyle, unfortunately, and the issues that he continues to face on offense. It's tough, but I like that he's going on it. The sliding at first is always a little sketchy, right? But he's grinding, and we just got to hope for the best there for the Rockies. As they continue to navigate this. But a 5-for-5 day for Jordan Beck, 2-for-4 for Hunter Goodman, a base knock for Freeman, Doyle, Tolia, and 2 hits for Ryan Ritter as well, flying a little bit under the radar in that situation. He picked up a couple of hits there at the bottom of the order. But when we're talking about that middle of the order type of stuff, I just don't know if we can keep counting on Bretton Doyle in that 4-5-3. We got to drop him down maybe a little bit lower. Or if you're intrigued, maybe try to see if he can get something going. We know leading off ain't the groove, but maybe batting second. I just don't know if you can count on that right now until he gets out of the slump and back into a groove. All right, let's look ahead to tomorrow and see what you guys were watching for, and kind of again vent a little bit of the frustrations about the little victories, certainly, but it's time to start putting those. It's time to start playing the clean baseball. It's time for the expectation to go back, start going back to, hey, these are the pros, these are the big leagues. The baseball needs to be cleaned up, and the amount of errors, the amount of mental mistakes, that can't be happening for the Rockies. And just like we were singing the praise of Warren Schaefer before, this is a situation where you got to be able to get your guys in in the right mindset here and get themselves making sure that they're thinking and keeping their heads in the right part of the game. But there was also some bad luck too. We'll talk about it all coming after the break. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances, but it's all in one place. It's a complete financial command center because you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. You don't have to go to all there. You can see it all right in front of you, laid out, so you're able to make a plan and see exactly where you're at in certain situations. You're also going to be able to track your spending. You're going to know exactly what's costing you and your business more. Or maybe you want to work together with your partner, whether it be your life partner or business partner, on how to take your finances to the next level. You can see how much you're spending on streaming services, going out to eat, all those little expenses that go out that just add up. And you can be able to make the adjustments and get the real data that you need. And Monarch helps you stay on the same page with anyone that you share your finances with, and you can get serious about your financial goals. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB. That's code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. Locked On Rockies coming to a close here for your Wednesday episode here. That game again, it became entertaining. There was some bad breaks and things like that, but my main takeaway, and as much as I want to sit there and focus on the positives and the good things that happen, it again, they gotta stop making those small mistakes. They gotta be able to make the adjustments and do some damage. Again, Houston's bullpen, very, very good. Something that's been a strength of their team, but they were showing that they were seeing the ball. They were seeing things correctly. They were being able to be effective here and put the pressure on the Astros. You just got to make sure you stay out of your own ways. The 2 errors are what cost you when you out hit your opposition by 4. By 3. And add the walks in there. The Astros got 4 walks, so that raises them up to matching and just a little bit. Actually, 1 more hit and walk more than just Rockies hits. But you factor that in, you got more hits, you got more walks. You got to play the clean baseball, and you got to get the breaks to go your way a little bit too. But that stuff is important as well. As much as we're talking about development, as much as we're talking about growth, you got to do the little things right. That includes understanding the situation there on the base paths. Bad luck for Brenton Doyle, but again, it's be using your coaches got to help you out in that situation. You got to, and so do the umpires. You got to be able to throw the ball where you need to throw the ball. You got to make the plays that you got to make, because every time that you give those free opportunities, anytime that you give those free chances, those free passes, they will do damage. Look at what happened when Chase was walking people. Grand slam. Those the mistakes, the good teams will punish your mistakes time and time again. And this was a game that was a prime example of that. And again, there was like we talked about before, there were bad breaks. Great defensive stop there in right field. The tough luck there for Brenton Doyle, even mixed with kind of just a little bit of the frustrations of not being able to, get the information that he needs to, and just kind of one of those plays that baseball just happens there. But it's errors, man. It really comes back down to those errors are really, really important and a problem for the Colorado Rockies. But we'll see if they can bounce back here. I was encouraged by the offense. I was encouraged by the approach. I was encouraged that this team was able to do damage against Hader there in the ninth, and be able to put, get after and do some damage in the early parts of that game, and keep making it, reestablishing themselves as a factor here. I like the fact that they jumped out early. Just got to put together the complete ball game and get the job done there. Hunter Brown versus Austin Gomber, and the Rockies are going to be in for a challenge tomorrow here. 8-3 record for Hunter Brown here, 1.74 ERA, the whip of 0.89 in 98 innings pitched, 118 strikeouts to only 28 walks, 8 homers there. And when you see that strikeout number, boy, oh boy, do you get nervous there. I mean, this is going to be one where if you want to impress, if you want to show that you can that you can make adjustments, that you can get yourself locked in, go out against a pitcher that has been able to get a lot of strikeouts, make him uncomfortable, chase him out of Coors Field. But that is just one of your biggest concerns, right? I mean, this is still a Rockies team in that finale that struck out 10 times in the series opener there, with 3 strikeouts from Gordon, and Hader getting 2 and Abreu getting 3. We've seen how much the Rockies struggle with power pitching and with pitchers that can get into a groove. You have to make him uncomfortable. You got to make him uncomfortable by taking the right pitches, but you got to be aggressive in the right moments. You got to jump on these pitches, and you got to do damage there. Maybe some stuff there with the walks at 28, but that's not, that's certainly a factor there over the 98 innings pitched. Home runs, they have certainly happened, but this is going to be a massive, massive challenge for the Rockies as the Astros look to continue to cement their lead at the top of the American League West and get to 500 on the road here. The Rockies sending Austin Gomber out, as Austin Gomber had a great first start, and then we saw a tough, we've seen the flip-flop that we're kind of used to here so far for Austin Gomber, and the big question mark here, they were able to do damage against Chase by getting the hits there, by being able to make contact. While he was only gave up 4 hits against the Dodgers there in his last start, that start against Arizona, he wasn't able to miss bats, 12 hits, 9 earned runs, 3 home runs allowed. And we know that strikeouts kind of vary for Gomber here. So this is going to be a situation, if Gomber is going to kind of show, establish himself as being a little bit back, being in the groove, being a little bit more comfortable with being back, it's going to be a challenge across the board for the Rockies tonight, I should say. But we'll see. We'll see if they're up for it. They made things interesting in game 1. They've made things interesting of late. But to get win number 20, they're going to have to outperform what they usually do in areas that they struggle with, including strikeouts there. All right, folks, that is going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, and we're on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can give compliments like Mike did, says this is the most underrated podcast on YouTube. Go Rockies. Go Rockies indeed, Mike. And thank you for the kind words there as well. We'll be back in action here, bringing you more coverage from this Rockies-Astros series throughout the week. And like I said, we do got an interesting and I think fun crossover coming up at the end of the week here with Locked On White Sox and Locked on Rockies. Gonna be a fun time. Folks, thank you again for making us your first listen of the day. Go check out Locked on MLB and Locked on MLB Game Night for your second listen of the day. And if you need more Colorado sports coverage, Locked on Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, and Buffs. Really crazy day for the Denver Nuggets. If you want to go see all the response and all the feedback to that, go check out those shows on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked on Rockies podcast.